Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Path of Exile. This is a quick update on the progress of my rebuild of the Chaoscaster Shadow. So I've arrived in late Act 3, killed Piety without too many issues, and I've actually got the waypoint for the Scepter of God. So after I go over the build and just the state of things, we're actually gonna go and kill Dominus and then call it an episode. So, Life and Energy Shield, they are in very good shape. 1900 on each. This is about 1000 points in total more than I had when I initially faced it with Venomon number 3, the predecessor of this build. So in terms of life and survivability, I think I'm in a very good state. Flasks, I actually have a seeding flask, which is very useful, because if I get into very panicky situations, I can actually instant heal. But the thing is, I've got a very large amount of energy shield right now, so I think that until Merciless, I'm probably not gonna need it, but I have it all already, just in case. A panic flask, this is just for healing. The panicked part shouldn't actually do anything, because I don't hope I will ever get to below, what is it, 30% health, where the low life situation actually kicks in. Mana flask, healing flask, and a granite flask. It has a bonus to evasion rating. It's the best I got right now. I wanted to roll with a bonus to armor, but yeah, orbs of alterations, they don't work with me right now. Let's see, the build, most of the gear has just been upgraded from what it was before. Sibyl's Paw still there because it's useful. Rings and such have been upgraded to grant more resistances. Boots, I used to have unique boots that granted me 40% extra speed at the penalty of taking 20% extra physical damage. Those have been phased out. I took them out just before the fight with the Foul Oversoul in Act 2, because in the pyramid damage actually started to feel a bit heavier than it did before. But those boots were very nice for just accelerating me while leveling. Currently just got some very nice pure energy shield boots. These are not hybrid boots, but pure energy shield boots. And the main reason I picked them is because 20% movement speed, a lot of energy shield, and decent resistances. I just couldn't pass these up. And they were way better than the low level boots I had before. Amulet, that's also another big change. I used to have this 2% life regenerated per second Talisman with 19 to all attributes. 19 to all attributes was very nice to boost my strength, because strength is a weakness of the shadow, because it's really hard to get points. And if you rely on a couple of key red gems, you need strength to get by. So I replaced it with an Empire Amulet instead, which grants me even more strength, and also some mana and fire resistances. The reason I dropped the old amulet in favor of this one is because I came to the realization that life regeneration at this point in the game is no longer useful for me. I have 1900 life, I have 1900 energy shield. If my energy shield is 0, I withdraw from combat. I have to get out. If my life goes lower, if I lose more than, say, a quarter of my life, I will start hitting flasks rather than relying on the regen. The thing is, if you have like 50 points of life regen, it's gonna take quite a while for your regen to fill up the flask. So you hit your instant flask, you hit your not so instant flask that still recharges quite some health per second. I mean, this one recharges 200 health per second. This one recharges 700 health per time I take a sip. And I can do it 3 times to basically more than fill up my life pool. So life regen is not gonna be useful even in panicky situations. But in standard situations, when I'm just fighting halfway through my energy shield, and probably not more than that, it's gonna do nothing for me. So that was just a wasted mod. So in this way, I have a amulet that does more for the build. Let's see, skills. Discipline is still there as my armor of my defensive aura, and I've replaced Arctic armor, which is still there, but it's as a fallback. I've replaced it with Blasphemy with Enfeeble. The reason for that is that it was pointed out to me that Arctic armor only does the damage resistance while you are stationary. kind of slipped my mind, but it was a good reminder. The thing is, in critical situations, you will actually be stationary. I mean, if you're stunned or frozen, you're not going anywhere. And if you're casting, then you're also standing still. But this is supposed to be a hit and run build. It used to be kind of modified the playstyle a little bit now that I've got Abyssal Cry. But in general, you're a hit and run build. And the run part, Arctic Armor, doesn't protect you. Blasphemy, or more specifically Enfeeble, it reduces monsters' damage just across the board. Currently 24% at level 8, it will be 30% less damage at level 20. That's a huge amount. And against normal mobs, it's double, almost triple the amount of damage reduction across all elements that you do that will be applied to the monsters, rather than only 2 different types of elements. So it's a win in that regard. Also, against bosses, 30% damage reduction. Bosses tend to have 60% curse resistance, so the 30% is reduced to 12%, but then it's still on par with Arctic Armor. Only difference is, of course, you have to be in range to actually apply the Enfeeble. That's the only caveat. And monsters that are hex-proof or maps that are completely hex-proof don't work. So that's where Arctic Armor comes in for maps that need it. And for the rest, I think nothing has really changed. Oh yeah, Decoy Totem. That's a new one in the build as well. So, because Abyssal Cry is pretty good at exploding corpses, I could take out the Spell Totem plus Bone Offering combination, because I can already deal with corpses. Abyssal Cry, it's you can't deal with corpses after the fact, you have to be very proactive about it. But most of the time, when enemies care about corpses, you can just explode them and you're generally fine. So that saved me some slots. So I put a Decoy Totem in, which was a very good suggestion from someone in chat or in the comments. Decoy Totem draws monsters away from you. If I put a... Oh, I was gonna say if I put a Decoy Totem there, but of course it's not on my middle mouse button anymore. But if I put a Decoy Totem there, monsters are gonna go there. So I have control over where monsters go. So I can Contagion, Essence Drain, heck, I can even Abyssal Cry from a distance. And I can control where monsters shoot and where they go. So in case of the Resto fight, now if I put my Decoy Totem somewhere nearby, I can more or less control where the Resto is gonna go rather than chasing directly after me. At least that's my hope. So, and with that, I think I really have... I mean, Vengeance linked with Blind. I'm not quite sure if it was in there or not before, but it is now. So, Vengeance, if you get hit, you have a 35% chance to counter-attack in an AoE around you. I linked it with Blind to have a chance of blinding enemies, which again reduces their accuracy, which synergizes very well with Enfeeble, which also does that. So, it just makes it harder for monsters to hit you, which is safe. Not completely married to it, but it seems like a nice defensive addition to the build. Yeah. So, let's kill Dominus. Let's go to the Scepter of God. Then afterwards I can continue with Act 4 and hopefully make my way to Merciless difficulty soon. So, the playing pattern with Abyssal Cry definitely has become a bit more aggressive compared to before, because you can more quickly kill enemies. You are more bound to seek them out. Let's see, that's a riposte, let's not boost it anymore. I'm trying to keep the attribute requirements a bit under control, so that's why I've got quite a number of skills that require dex and strength. Just on pause from leveling, you can just right click on the plus to not level it up and make the message here disappear, but they will still be available here. And most of these things have around 80 requirements in strength and dex that's my items give me 10 to 20 on those stats. So I want to keep a little bit of flexibility when switching my items, so that's why I just paused the leveling for those skills for now. And in the end, they're all support gems anyway. The true damage comes from intelligence-based skills, which is all the chaos stuff. Superior flask. Let's have a look where we can go. So Whirling Blades is still awesome for moving around. I've got it linked with Fortify, so it's actually pretty decent for just building up Fortify as well. Which again is another, I think it's 20% physical damage reduction. So it stacks nicely with all the other defensive options I got. So I've got a bigger life pool, but also slightly more defensive options in the build. Because, well, in the end, against the Resso I just didn't have enough life, or did not have enough damage mitigation against physical. And yeah, just having a slightly bigger life pool would be very useful. So right now, in the passive tree, I've gone a bit earlier for more energy shield related nodes, kind of deprioritizing evasion because it doesn't really help against spells, only against melee attacks or bow attacks. But as a result, I've been able to pump my energy shield quite a bit more. Taking the path to the Scion's life wheel, actually, before we just do it. So currently this is my skill tree, and I'm ignoring this part of the skill tree. So there's this nice chaos damage wheel, evasion energy shield, and evasion life. I'm just ignoring everything here, and instead just moving up here, grabbing some damage here because there was efficient and energy shield and life. More energy shield and life, and here some life, here more energy shield, blast radius, and next up on the list is going up for here. So I'm gonna grab Alchemist. These 3 nodes boost the effects of all your flasks by 30%. So Granite Flask gets 900 extra armor. If you have the Iron Skin mod on the flask, it gets up to double that, so that's really powerful. All your healing is doubled. It's very good. Very good suggestion from someone in the comments. There's a jewel socket here, since I'm gonna go up here anyway, so that's pretty efficient to grab. I'm gonna go for Mind Barrier to get a little bit of spell block in there, which seems useful. An energy shield on shield is also very nice, since my shields have energy shield. And then I'm gonna grab Cruel Preparations and Life to boost my life a bit further. And after that, I'm gonna go down the tree here and grab Foresight, Potency of Will. So I'm not gonna go for Exceptional Performance, but for Potency of Will. Then via Shape, you're gonna go to Constitution and grab the entire Scion life wheel. So rather than taking the evasion route, I'm taking the energy shield route towards the life wheel, because this boosts my health pool and this does not. So that seems useful. And then after I've grabbed the entire wheel, then I'm gonna have a look at grabbing things here and just rounding out my evasion a little bit and grabbing a little bit more damage. But for now, the focus is gonna be more strongly on defensive skills than offensive skills. Okay, that's enough rambling about this build. Let's kill someone who thinks he is a god.
I've dealt with far
Hello
darker shadows than you, Exile.
So, here. I have my decoy totem. Let's see. That's a blind, we can level that. So, just kill them. Oh no. They killed my golem though. Buggers. Let's recast the golem. Just keep the flask up. Grab this one, just because. We got the second wave now. Okay, there's chaos damage, so that actually hurts my life a bit. So, let's see. Oh, wow. I'm just gonna turn your minions into suicide commandos and Feeble went up in level, that's very nice. Hello there, Dominus. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Here, yo, he touched.
Nightmare prevails. The light of divinity.
Ah, right. Killed my golem. Let's get the golem back. Okay, come on, stop moving so I can hit you. Yeah. Touch of God, sure.
Die. The light of divinity.
And that's a final hit.
This
Yes,
world
we got him.
is an illusion, Exile.
At least that was the first stage. We got that. Recharge the golem. So far I haven't used Wither once. Just active casting with Ethereal Knives tends to do more than actual Wither. Let's see, what if we put a decoy there? So, those minions are decent for recharging. No corrupting blood. Let's actually fix that. And that was him.
It's funny, Your Grace. I always thought you'd be taller.
We didn't get a lot of rares. Oh, we got a unique jewel. Let's have a look at what that one is. Rolling Flames. I don't think I've... that's a new one, actually. Extra fire damage with at least 50 intelligence allocated in radius. Fireball projectiles gain area of effect radius as they travel farther. Up to 50% increased radius. Ah, this is one of the skill threshold runes. Jewels. Okay, and with that... we enter into Act 4. So, I'll find my own way towards Highgate. Just wanted to give you a brief update on where the build is and just a quick indication of how it plays. And Act bosses are always an interesting thing to watch. So, there it is. So, next update's probably gonna be Malachi, I think. Yeah. So, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.